Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this edition of DMS 3000 News Live. Episode 41 is coming at you right now. It's August 14th, 2023 on this Monday morning, and it's another week of our great program. And we hope you had a fantastic week with us last week as we had terrific interviews and great commentaries all across the board. I thought it was a fantastic week of fantastic news and information brought to you, and we thank you very much for your continued support of DMS 3000 News Live. Today on our program, of course, you know I am Jason DeCanio, the host of this great show. I'm here on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Brandon Martin is here usually Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I know he'll be here at least Thursday. Brandon Bogard might come in on Wednesday. We're still looking for a Friday replacement. So if you would like to be a host and a temporary host or a replacement host for Brandon on the days that he's not available to do this show, please stop by. No, not really stop by. Drop us a line at the David 3000 Network. We'd love to hear from you. And if you would like to do this program for 2 hours, or at least once a week, if not maybe twice a week, we'll get you in here and we'll let you know how the format goes. The format goes pretty much just like CBS Sunday Morning, folks. We give you three great topics of interest. We give you the headlines, the sports, news of the weird on Mondays, and of course the editorial at the end of the program. So with all of that, you find what you want to talk about, great. And again, of course, if you have a topic of interest that you would like us to discuss sometime in the near future, we've been more than happy to have that put up for a specific episode. Right now, let's look at today's topics that we're going to be looking at. Today is the 10th anniversary of that 70s show actress Lisa Robin Kelly. She passed back in 2013. We'll look at her tremendous life and legacy, how she passed, and give you the biography of her wonderful life. Then, of course, we've got the 20th anniversary of the Northeast Blackout of 2003. That was an interesting situation that happened some 20 years ago. We'll look at that, give you all of the great details and the commentaries that go with it. We Should Not Be Friends, the nonfiction book about a 40-year-old friendship, and the commentary. We'll look at the New York Times commentary, specifically from that article. We'll, of course, tribute the author and give you all of the great stuff that goes with that book later on in the program. Of course, we also have News of the Weird coming up later. What day is today? Plus headlines, sports, and other information. All of this, and of course, the editorial at the end of the program. All right, so let's go right now to headlines, sports, and other important information for today, Monday, August 14th, 2023. Well, Hawaii's governor orders review as Maui fires become deadliest in modern U.S. history. As Governor Josh Green said, he has ordered a comprehensive review to understand the actions taken before, during, and after last week's wildfires on Maui. And a lot is happening in Florida education. These are some of the changes kids will see. The Florida education system has been in the spotlight lately after Governor Ron DeSantis banned diversity and inclusion programs in public colleges and approved a controversial social studies curriculum. A history of Hawaii's sirens and the difference it could have made against the Maui fires. Hawaii's siren system is considered the largest in the world, but they weren't activated ahead of the Maui fires. Experts say the alert could have helped residents have more time to prepare. Niger's mutinous soldiers say they will prosecute deposed President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and undermining state security hours after they said they were open to resolving the crisis. As Niger's coup leaders say, they will prosecute deposed President Mohamed Bazoum. Silicon Valley's latest hype, the eyeball scanning silver orbs to confirm you're human. The project is called WorldCoin, and it was co-founded by Sam Altman of ChatGPT fame. Its mission is to authenticate all the world's humans, one eyeball scan at a time. The Brazilian family saw their income evaporate during the pandemic, so they couldn't afford to stay in their home. The city of Sao Paulo has a solution, but they thought it was too good to be true, as a tiny house gives them hope how a homeless family in Brazil got a fresh start. 5 people are dead and multiple homes destroyed after a house exploded in Pennsylvania. An explosion at a house in western Pennsylvania destroyed 3 structures and damaged at least a dozen others Saturday morning, authorities say. The future of crypto hinges on a fight between the SEC and a former burger flipper. A looming courtroom battle between the largest cryptocurrency exchange and the world's most powerful regulator promises to shape the future of crypto. And caring for people with fentanyl addiction often means treating terrible wounds. The fentanyl additive, xylazine, causes open wounds, making the illegal drug supply even more dangerous and treatment more complicated. And while the guy from The Office wants a spiritual revolution, Rainn Wilson's book calls for a spiritual revolution in America. And even though he himself is a very funny guy, he is not joking about this at all. How hardworking microbes ferment cabbage into kimchi. An age-old technique transforms vegetables and spices into a popular condiment with a zesty, funky taste. The key? Nurturing the right community of microbes. Here's how the magic happens. Weekly Dose of Wonder, highlights of wondrous, awe-inspiring, or magical in the world of science and health. Kings and Queens gathered for Hip Hop 50 Live at Yankee Stadium. The 8-hour concert Friday night was a procession of generations of hip-hop royalty, from the Sugar Hill Gang to current stars like Lil Wayne, Run DMC, and they gave what was billed as their last performance. Barrels of drinking water for migrants walking through Texas have disappeared as one of the worst heat waves on record set in across much of the southern United States. Barrels of life-saving water for wayward migrants traveling on foot, they vanished without a trace. The years-long journey to save a tiny snail you've never heard of. That's right, researchers in upstate New York are working to rehome some tiny, rare snails. And understanding their decline could help mitigate broader climate changes. A new gray wolf pack is found 200 miles south of California's nearest known pack. The gray wolves used to roam most of North America before being hunted, trapped, and driven out of most of the continental United States by the early 1900s. And they are native of California. Amid streaming chaos, Dropout carves out its own niche. As big media companies struggle to become profitable, smaller companies like Dropout think they can make it work by offering niche content instead of going after a mass audience. A visa program created to help law enforcement solve crimes puts immigrant victims at risk instead. The U Visa program was created to help law enforcement solve crimes and protect the immigrant crime victims reporting them. But it puts applicants in limbo for years, unable to work legally. And will Trump's January 6th trial move to West Virginia? The long shot strategy explained. As experts say, the request is a long shot, legally speaking. But even if it fails, it could still be a win for Trump politically. NPR traveled to West Virginia to explore why. The Riverfront Brawl in Alabama reignites national debate over the race. Police say the fight in Montgomery, Alabama last week doesn't meet the criteria for hate crime charges, but video clearly shows how the violence broke down on racial lines, historian Darren Moten says. Violent threats against public officials are rising, and here's why. A Utah man was killed by federal agents this week after making violent threats against President Biden and other officials. Experts worry that heated political rhetoric is leading to more threats. And those are the headlines for not just today, but this entire weekend, right here on the David 3000 News Network. Now let's go over to sports. A lot of baseball action last night. And I tell you, friends, you think about this as we get down to the nitty gritty here. This is crunch time because we're going into September soon for baseball, and there's just a lot happening going on right now. So let's look at a couple of articles from right now. Let's see. I don't want that. Don't want that. Okay, I got to put the ad block on. Reload. Okay. Here are the favorites for 2023. This is from Manny Ranhawa. The All-Star Game gives us a chance to honor the top players of roughly the first half. But in 2019, Major League Baseball introduced the All-MLB team to provide a more comprehensive accounting of the season's best. All MLB honors are voted on by both fans and an expert panel after the season, with first and second team honorees revealed in December. And while what happens over the next several weeks will go a long way toward determining the 2023 All-MLB team, it's worth taking a look at where things stand right now. To that end, a group of MLB.com writers got together to vote on who they think will wind up being named the All-MLB at season's end. And here are the results. The first team for the catchers will have Sean Murphy, and the second team will have Will Smith from the Dodgers. So you got Sean Murphy from the Braves, Will Smith from the Dodgers. And then on first base, Freddie Freeman from the Dodgers. The second team has Matt Olson from the Braves. It's pretty much going to be a Dodgers-Braves All-American team, according to them. First team on the second base is Luis Arraez from Miami. Second team, Marcus Semien from Texas. And then at third base, you're going to have Jose Ramirez from Cleveland. Second team will be Matt Chapman from the Toronto Blue Jays. Then the shortstop, you have Corey Seager from Texas. The second team will be Bo Bichette from Toronto. In the outfield, you have Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Braves, Mookie Betts from the Dodgers, Juan Soto from the Padres. On the second team, you have Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox, Adolis Garcia from Texas, and Corbin Carroll from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then your designated hitter, the first team, Shohei Ohtani from the LA Angels and Yordan Alvarez from the Houston Astros. And then your starting pitcher, first team, Garrett Cole from the Yankees, Framber Valdez from Houston, Spencer Strider from Atlanta, Zach Gallen from Arizona, Kevin Guzman from the Blue Jays. The second team has Blake Snell from the Padres, Nathan Eovaldi from Texas, Justin Steele from the Chicago Cubs, Sonny Gray from the Minnesota Twins, and Logan Webb from the San Francisco Giants. And then the relief pitcher. First team will be Felix Bautista from the Orioles, Josh Hader from the Padres. The second team has Alexis Diaz from Cincinnati and Devin Williams from the Milwaukee Brewers. So there you have it, friends. A little bit of a prediction, not so much what they think, because of course the fans do vote for this particular MLB All-American team for 2023. Who would you vote for? Well, there is always a difference of opinion, but judging by the statistics and the favorites out there, most of them would probably take Ohtani anytime. All right, now that we've got that taken care of, let's take a look at the scores from last night. It was a wild one out there on Sunday as the Red Sox continued to battle to try to keep from staying out of the cellar. They beat the Tigers, put up a 6 spot and win 6-3 over the struggling Detroit Tigers. The Red Sox are at 62-56, still trying to hold on to something in the AL East, where the Yankees are, between them and the Yankees, they're just trying to fight for last place there. So they win yesterday 6-3. It was the Nationals over the Athletics 8-7, and the Nationals are putting up some heat because prior to yesterday's game, the Mets were in last place. Yes, if the Mets did not win their game last night, they would have been in dead last place, and surely they deserve everything coming to them. On the flip side, the Nationals win 8-7, spotting a tremendous streak of wins. They go to 53-66. The Athletics, well, struggling at 33-85. It was the Pirates over the Reds 4-2, as the Reds still are continuing to try to find some battleground in the NL Central with the Brewers, but the Pirates are playing spoiler. They know they don't have a chance because they're at 53-64 and 11 games under 500, so they're trying their best to try to make it very difficult for the Reds. There was also another game, a makeup game from August 12th, and that game the Reds won this time, putting up a 6-5 spot. So that keeps them still behind the Brewers because the Brewers are all tops there, and we'll get to the standings in just a little bit. Twins over the Phillies 3-0. It was the Blue Jays ramping the Cubs 11-4. The Guardians upset the Rays 9-2. It was the Marlins over the Yankees 8-7. The Angels upsetting the Astros 2-1. Brewers, well, they keep winning. And they beat the White Sox 7-3. It was the Giants over the Rangers 3-2. The Dodgers, they keep winning in the Division 2. Beat the lowly Rockies 8-3. It was the Diamondbacks finally sprouting a 500 record, but slipping in the NL West 5-4. They lose over the Padres. It was the Orioles once again continuing their winning ways, beat the Seattle Mariners 5-3, and in a shocking upset. Oh, my goodness. A shocking upset. The Mets beat the Braves 7-6 to go ahead of Washington and get back out of the cellar to post a record at 53-65, still 12 games back, but now 22 and a half back of the Atlanta Braves. And now we look at those standings, those fantastic standings that you are pretty much wondering. You can follow along with us on the standings at MLB.com/standings if you're interested in looking at the standings while we go over these things. Okay. All right. So as of today, the Baltimore Orioles have that best record in the AL. I mean, the American League, they have it 73-45. They are just totally dominating, folks. They start a series against the Padres today so they go to San Diego tonight, actually. But they're just fantastically doing great. 73-45, 28 games over 500, and have the division over the Tampa Bay Rays at 71-49 by 3 games. But Tampa still holds a big lead, a +5 games in the wild card. Toronto at 66-54 is 8 games back. Boston 62-56, 11 games back, but 3 back in the wild card. So they still got a chance to get the wild card if they keep playing the way they're doing. And the Yankees at 60-58, 13 games back, 5 games back in the wild card. Minnesota finally gets over 500, and there is no AL Comedy Central anymore. They sprout the first over 500 in their win-loss. They're at 62-58, and they hold the division in the Central. Boy, if the Yankees were in that division, they would be actually in second place. Same thing with the Red Sox would be in first place if they were in the Central Division, and Minnesota would be in third. Or second or third, I don't know. But, just depends. It's too bad they're not in divisions where they can actually have a chance. Anyhow, Minnesota will start a 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers on Tuesday night. Cleveland, 57-62, 4.5 back in the division, 8.5 back in the wild card. Detroit, 53-65, 8 games back, 12 back in the wild card. The White Sox, 47-72, not doing so hot this year, 14.5 back, 18.5 back in the wild card. And Kansas City, well, they still hold the bottom there, but they're actually improving themselves. 38-81, 23.5 back, 27.5 back in the wild card. And the AL West, it's the Texas Rangers once again showing dominance against Houston. They have a 70-48 record. Not bad at all. They got 32 games over 500 on that. Fantastic. And Houston, they're at 68-51, 2.5 back in the division, but they have the wild card by +2.5. Okay. Seattle, 63-54, 6.5 back in the division, 1.5 back in the wild card. LA Angels, 59-60, 11.5 back, 6.5 back in the wild card. And those wonderful Oakland Athletics who are going to Vegas next year, 33-85, 37 games back. 32 games back in the wild card. If they could get on a streak right now, they might have a chance. I still say there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We go to the NL East, where the Atlanta Braves are just total domination over their entire other four teams. They are posting a 75-42 record right now. Everything is going right for them. They start a 3-game series against the New York Yankees tonight in Atlanta. So good luck to them. You got to win against those tough teams. And even though the Yankees are struggling, the Yankees still can play spoiler. Philly 65-54, 11 games back, 3 up on the wild card right now. Miami 62-57, 14 games back. Miami and Philly were supposed to be catching the Atlanta Braves sometime last month, and they just completely slipped. And I'll have a complete story about that on Brian Snow and Cole Johnson's program tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the 11 o'clock hour. So I'll be there for that, definitely. The New York Mets, 53-65, 22.5 back, 8.5 back in the wild card. Still have a chance. And like I said, Washington with that win, and even though the Mets won 53-66, 23 games back, 9 games back in the wild card. The Mets, like I said, were in last place prior to them winning last night. The Mets open up a 3-game series against the Pittsburgh Pirates at Citi Field tonight, and Washington goes up against Boston in Washington. The Brewers, well, they are sprouting their own wings right now, 65-54. They have the lead in the NL Central. The Cubs, oh my God, the Cubs, 61-57, 3.5 back. Only a half game back in the wild card. They've got life. They actually went ahead of Cincinnati because with that loss in Cincinnati 62-58, 3.5 back, 5.5 half game back in the wild card. They are Cincinnati and the Cubs are fighting for that wild card. Can you believe that? That's going to be a good matchup. We'll see what happens. All right. And then Pittsburgh, 53-65, 11.5 back, 8.5 back in the wild card. St. Louis, 52-66, 12.5 back, 9.5 back. Not their year this year. The Dodgers and the NL West, once again, folks, are showing who they are, what they're doing. They're on an 8-game winning streak, and they have a very important series against the Brewers starting tomorrow night versus them. So the Brewers will go to the Dodgers and play a 3-game series. That is going to be an interesting, tough test for the Dodgers as the Brewers hold that division in the Central. So it's the NL Central versus the NL West division leaders. San Francisco Giants, 63-55, 8.5 back, but still 1.5 games ahead of everybody in the wild card. They hold the wild card lead right now by 1.5. Arizona, 59-59, 500 team, 12.5 back, struggling mightily, 2.5 back in the wild card. San Diego, 56-62, 15.5 back, 5.5 in the wild card. And the Rockies, 45-73, 26.5 back, 16.5 back in the wild card. They still have a chance. Everybody still has a chance. Once we get into September, that's crunch time, folks. And that, again, of course, is sports for you today on DMS 3000 News Live. We'll be back with News of the Weird right after this.
Before you slide into that satin, before you slip into that silk, before you put on anything at all, caress. Before you dress, Caress isn't a soap. It's the body bar with bath oil. Caress can't dry your skin the way soap can. Gives you the soft you just can't get from soap. After all, shouldn't your skin be softer than anything that goes next to it? Before you dress, Caress.
If you've got a good trade, chances are you've already got a good job. If you haven't, better get one. Auto mechanic. Now there's a good trade. At Apex Tech, we've got a 6-month training program for auto mechanics. It's thorough because we work you hard. With a professional mechanic working alongside you, you tear down an engine and put it back together again, and do the same with the transmission. carburetors, fuel injection, computer command control, electrical chassis, alignment, brakes, steering. It's all in your training program. When you complete your training and we recommend you for a job, you've got your own set of professional tools. Give us a call. Say when you can come in to look over the shops and see what financial assistance toward your training you're entitled to from the government. Now, I can't phone you. You have to take the first step. Call 645-3300. Our switchboard is open now. 645-3300.
Ah, the Nature Valley Granola Bar. Such simple sweetness. Such enjoyable crunch. Once you come to know this wonderfully wholesome taste, you realize a Nature Valley Granola Bar could be the candy bar nature intended.
Oh, you're looking at a broken peanut. All I ever wanted was to get into a Fifth Avenue candy bar so I can be irresistible. But they don't want peanuts. They want peanut butter. Crunchy layer after layer of peanut butter smothered in Hershey's pure milk chocolate. Oh, it'll be a grind, but I'm going to do it. After all, it's Hershey. It's Fifth Avenue. It's everything it's cracked up to be. And if they won't have me, I'm going to throw myself to the elephants.
But I've heard that being sexy is all in the mind. But I think that it's somewhere else.
Jovan Musk.
Staying sexy is an all-day job. And for some of us, the end of the day is just the beginning.
Jovan Musk, Evening Edition. We help American men stay sexy.
Tired of losing battle after battle in the sky, the Autobots create the ultimate robot jet, Jetfire. But the evil Decepticons have a secret new weapon, Shockwave.
Shockwave will stop them!
Sold separately from Hasbro.
The bakers are here.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon and sugar, we're baking up a bunch. We're cinnamon and sugar shakers.
The bakers.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch bakers.
We make Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal taste
like homemade.
Part of this nutritious breakfast.
Less sugar than I thought.
Bacon homemade taste.
I like it.
Into Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
All right, welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 41 here, and of course, I am Jason DeCanio, your gracious host and moderator for this edition here today. And now it's time to go to News of the Weird. And of course, our wonderful guys at the editors at Andrews McNeil Syndication for the week of August 11th have another wonderful, great lineup of stories to share with you today. So we're going to share with you right now. The infamous Lake Tahoe foot fondler. He couldn't outrun authorities forever, the New York Post reported. On August 1st, 26-year-old Mark Anthony Gonzalez was arrested in Atwater, California, and charged with burglary and battery after two early July incidents at the Club Wyndham South Shore Hotel in Nevada. According to police, Gonzalez entered two condominiums by opening unlocked screen doors. Once inside, he positioned himself at the foot of the bed and rubbed the feet of two separate adult females in two different units. Gonzalez fled when his victims woke up and confronted him. He is also suspected of trespassing and stealing women's shoes for sexual pleasure. He was being held for extradition back to Nevada. Pinellas County, Florida deputies are pleading with the public to stop calling them about manatees in canals and shorelines along the Gulf Coast, Fox 13 TV reported on August 1st. People think the manatees are in distress because they're swimming in herds and thrashing about, but officials stress that the sea cows are only mating. If you see this, don't call us. the sheriff's office warned via Facebook post. And we can assure you they are more than fine. Manatees actually mate in herds like these, and often they are near the shore. There's no need to call. They are okay. In a stunning stroke of genius, the Alpha and Omega Funeral Home in Ahuachapan, El Salvador, started offering Barbie-themed coffins last year, the New York Post reported. With the movie's summer success, Undertaker Isaac Villegas said they've been swamped with orders and have sold out of the hot pink caskets. We wanted to promote the pink coffin as it has come and become a trend, Villegas said. Of the 40 people who inquired about it, we have already closed a contract with at least 10 new clients. Similarly, in Guayaquil, Ecuador, funeral home Funeraria Oliveras is offering a Barbie house coffin so you can rest like a Barbie. One manufacturer gushed about their product. This coffin, with its striking bright pink color, represents the spark and energy of those unforgettable moments they lived. One El Salvadorian commenter conceded, eternal rest doesn't look so bad anymore. Early on July 28th, Thornton, Colorado police were called out about a stolen car, KKTV reported. As the officers gathered information, the suspect, 36-year-old Julian Fernandez, returned to the scene, but quickly ran on foot from the area and out of sight, police said. And while they watched, the man jumped over a security fence and started climbing a 320-foot radio tower. He eventually reached the top, where he stayed for 12 hours as crisis negotiators tried to reason with him. In the end, firefighters climbed the tower and brought Fernandez down. A Sonic Drive-In restaurant in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was the scene of a gruesome assault on August 1st, Fox News reported. Police arriving at the scene found a man with a flagpole. An American flag still attached through his head. They said it had entered under his jaw and exited near his right temple. Witnesses reported that the suspect, Clinton Collins, allegedly charged the victim and ran the pole through his head, saying, "That's what he gets." Oh, he deserved it. Wow. Collins was taken into custody immediately. Emergency responders had to cut part of the flagpole away in order to fit the victim in the ambulance. He survived, but may lose an eye, police said. Ooh. Pinecrest, Florida has a peculiar problem. Peacocks. The New York Times reported on August 9th that the city has been overrun with the large, loud, destructive birds which peck at roofs and cars and relieve themselves all over driveways. The solution? Peacock vasectomies. Dr. Don J. Harris, the veterinarian who will snip the feisty birds, said they're bona fide polygamists. We're going to catch one peacock and probably stop 7 females from reproducing. It's going to have an exponential benefit. County commissioners approved the plan and city officials designated $7,500 a month to cover trapping and surgery. Wow. 64-year-old Peggy Jones of Silsbee, Texas, got a little too close to nature for comfort on July 25th as she and her husband did yard work on their property. The New York Times reported that out of the blue, a snake fell from the sky, wrapped itself around Jones's forearm, and started to squeeze. I immediately screamed and started swinging my arm to shake the snake off, she said. I was screaming, "Jesus, help me, please! Jesus, help me!" But the snake hissed and struck at her face, sometimes hitting her glasses. Then, as Joan struggled, a hawk swooped down and tried to grab the snake, which it had dropped from on high from her arm. As it wrestled with the snake, its talons slashed into Jones's arm. Finally, the hawk got hold of the snake and flew off. She said the whole incident probably took only 15 or 20 seconds, but afterward I looked down at my arm and it was totally covered in blood. Jones's husband, Wendell, saw his wife screaming and running in a zigzag pattern. By the time I got to her, she was pretty hysterical, he said. Doctors said most of her wounds were caused by the hawk rather than the snake. Jones says that she is healing physically, but is still having nightmares about the incident. Yeah, that would bring nightmares to anybody. Here's a great one for irony. An instructor at a driving school in Lakewood, Colorado, won't be getting a passing grade after crashing a car into the school's front window on August 8th, just under a sign that says, "Learn to drive." KDFW TV reported that the driver, who was trying to park a Hyundai Tucson in front of the community driving school, was cited for a traffic violation. Police said there was only one minor injury. Thank God. Divers Ken Fleming and Doug Bishop were searching for clues in missing persons cold cases on August 6th in Doral, Florida, when they stumbled upon an investigatory treasure chest, WSVN TV reported. "We realized we had 32 cars underwater," Fleming said. "The divers work as volunteers and have a huge database of missing persons. We have 40 that we're targeting right now of folks that disappeared anywhere from 2 or 3 months ago to 30 or 40 years ago," he said. Statewide, Fleming said they have found 60 submerged cars that may be linked to crimes. They'll work with the county to get the vehicles removed and collect and deliver any pertinent information from them. And finally, but why is a mysterious man taking pacifiers out of the mouths of babes in Harlow, England, Sky News reported. The incident started in February, with the most recent one taking place on August 7th. One of the children was also assaulted. The suspect is a young, slim white man with brown eyes and yellow teeth, police said, and they are soliciting information from anyone who has any knowledge of the KG Dummy Bandit, our moniker, not theirs. As a parent myself, I understand the level of concern, said Chief Inspector Paul Austin. Well, send your weird news items with subject line "Weird News" to weirdnewstips@amuniversal.com. And, of course, we thank our friends at the Andrews McMeel Syndication for News of the Weird on the week of August 11th. We'll look forward to seeing them again next week right here on DMS 3000 News Live. All right. Another great day in the News of the Weird, folks. And, of course, we have time for What Day Is Today. That's right. Well, we've got more national holidays to look at. And, boy, oh, boy, let's see what's going to happen today. I would love to see that. National holidays, August. Today's August 14th. Yep. So, National Today, August 14th holidays. Whoa. Got too much. Okay. Let's see if we've got any good food days today. Oh, yes, we do. One. Oops, I don't want to make an account, though. I'm looking for the... Okay. All right, so out of all of them, I'm going to pick the National Creamsicle Day. Yes, I scream, you scream, we all scream for National Creamsicle Day. Yes, every year on this day, one of the most famous frozen desserts in history is honored, and just in time since we are all in the middle of the hottest month of the year. Whether you are making ice pops at home or listening for the bells and music of the ice cream truck, today is the perfect day to indulge in a cool, sweet treat. You know, creamsicles date back to the early 20th century when Frank Epperson accidentally created what would later become known as the popsicle. As the story goes, Epperson left a concoction of fruit juice and water outside overnight when the temperatures dropped below freezing. When he found the frozen mix the next morning with a stir stick frozen in the middle, the popsicle was born. And Epperson first began selling his frozen fruit juice treat to classmates and then friends throughout his community. He marketed his icy treat as a frozen drink on a stick. He was granted a patent years later in 1924. He says this was the perfect timing for Epperson. given the fact it was discovered that a couple of guys had been similarly experimenting with frozen suckers as far back as 1872, which they called the Hokey Pokey. During the Great Depression, the twin popsicle was invented and sold for only a nickel. This allowed parents to buy one ice pop and have two children share at an inexpensive price. Today, the Creamsicle is a brand owned by Good Humor, a subsidiary of Unilever. Famous flavors besides the orange Creamsicle are cherry, grape, lime, blue raspberry, and blueberry. Now, you can also find sugar-free popsicles, 100-calorie popsicles, and many new combinations of flavors. Take a few minutes today to savor one of the summer's small pleasures and celebrate the history of the Creamsicle. So it all starts in the 14th century. You know, ice cream was born, and the evidence of ice cream can be traced back to Asia during that 14th century. 1872, selling the Hokey Pokey. You know, two men sell frozen ice cream treats on a stick, which they named the Hokey Pokey. 1905, the popsicles accidentally are made. Frank Epperson leaves a mixture of water and sugar flavorings with a stirring stick in a cup on his porch overnight as the temperature drops below freezing, and the rest is history. The ice cream man didn't come around until the 1920s. Harry Bird of Youngstown, Ohio, is credited with the first ice cream truck, and he is the creator of the Good Humor brand. So today, what are we doing as far as activities? Well, you're going to make your own popsicles. These are easy treats to make at home and would be a fun way for the entire family to observe National Creamsicle Day. In a large bowl, mix equal parts of orange juice and vanilla ice cream. You can use popsicle molds to make this simple, but if you prefer to use small paper cups, pour the mixture into the cups and freeze it until partially frozen. Insert one popsicle stick into each cup and then put it back into the freezer until completely frozen. When frozen and ready to eat, peel the paper cup off the creamsicle and enjoy. And many desserts and treats have been inspired by the creamsicle. If the traditional ice cream creamsicle treat is totally last year for your family, try one of these. Creamsicle Rice Krispies treats, creamsicle pie, cupcakes, cookie bars, or cheesecake. You can also see if the limited edition creamsicle flavored Twizzler is on sale at your local market. And toast today with creamsicle mimosas. You know, put an adult spin on this childhood favorite by toasting the day with creamsicle mimosas. To make, mix a quarter cup of orange juice, 1 ounce of vanilla vodka, and 1 tablespoon of heavy cream in your champagne flute. Slowly add chilled champagne to the top of the glass, garnish with an orange wedge, and freeze it. And here are the cold hard facts. 2 billion popsicles are sold annually. Different surveys yield different results, but the original creamsicle seems to be the most popular, with cherry-flavored popsicles coming in second. The Guinness World Record for largest popsicle is a 21-foot ice pop made in the Netherlands in 1997. And Kevin Strahl from Ridgewood, New Jersey, claims to have eaten the most popsicles in 1 minute. He ate only 6 in 60 seconds on December 7th of 2017. And Jimmy Prince from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, holds the world record for eating a creamsicle in 11.81 seconds on July 7th, 2014. Wow! I'm talking about a brain freeze, you know? And why we love National Creamsicle Day. Did you have a group of neighborhood friends who would listen out for the ringing bell of the ice cream trucks? Nostalgic visions of the ice cream man serving creamsicles and every other ice pop imaginable is the point of today's celebration, and we can't get enough of it. And just when you need to cool down in the middle of a hot summer day, your mind wanders to the very thing that could provide the most relief. Not only do creamsicles provide a mom-approved hit of sugar, but they also cool us down on the scorching hottest days of days. And specialty ice cream shops and parlors owned by local moms and pops are where memories are made. You might meet your friends there or run into a neighbor you haven't seen in years, but visiting the ice cream parlor is a significant part of the experience in enjoying this cool treat. And there you have it, friends. National Popsicle Day, or the Creamsicle Day, for today, August 14th. I think we have time for one more. And normally I don't, try not to cover the other ones. But let's see. I think we should look at National Financial Awareness Day. For everybody who's struggling with their finances, this might be a time to start a new beginning a new chapter in your finances. So how much would you like to bet that most people don't know that today is National Financial Awareness Day? It's more important than you think. And plus, what's more fun than financial independence? First off, think about that great feeling you get when you don't have the looming specter of debt hanging over you. Also, sound financial decisions can really make a difference down the road. Remember, retirement is a time to take all those vacations you couldn't when you were working the daily grind. And because money is important to our overall peace of mind, Financial Awareness Day is a great time to review where you are now and where you're going financially. Don't let bad financial decisions ruin the best years of your life. So to honor National Financial Awareness Day, we've compiled a list of 5 useful resources to help guide students making big financial decisions in the near future. They are: how do student loans work, how to get a student loan alternatives, the FAFSA income limits, and what is work study and how do you get it. Those are the 5. So start saving, investing, and building up that nest egg on National Financial Awareness Day on August 14th. Do you lavishly spend money like they did it in The Great Gatsby? Are you saving for retirement but uncertain where every penny is going? And do you live paycheck to paycheck? Whatever your financial situation may be, it is time to look at the big picture and commit to becoming more aware of your spending. Most of us like to wait until our birthday or the new year to plan our finances, but today is a great time to start. As you know, August 14th is National Financial Awareness Day, and a good reminder to take investing and saving seriously to build financial stability and prepare for the future. The origins of the holiday are unknown, but the aim of it is to develop and instill good financial practices that will solidify a person's current financial status and serve them through retirement. Investing will make money do the work for us, which will result in less time spent working and leaving more time for us to enjoy our lives. David Ravech, a senior accounting lecturer at the University of California, Los Angeles, says, "We live in a world of financial illiteracy." What he means is that most of us do not possess the knowledge and skills that are necessary to make informed and effective financial decisions with our existing financial resources. It seems overwhelming, but everyone has the capacity to learn sound financial principles and save up. And just making small changes to our daily habits can reap great benefits, and financial benefits for that matter. Finances can be quite straightforward once we distinguish our wants from our needs and take inventory of our spending. Joining an investment or money management club or consulting a financial advisor is encouraged, and books and blogs on personal finance are promoted. So 1946, you charge ahead. John Biggins, he was a banker in Brooklyn. He introduces the Charge It card, believed to be the first bank card. And Frank McNamara in 1950 and Ralph Schneider introduced the Diners Club card as an alternative to cash. 1959, put it on plastic. American Express introduces its first credit card in 1958, and the following year releases the first plastic credit card. And in 2021, Reddit versus Wall Street. Redditors blow up electronics retail company GameStop's stock and upset Wall Street investors. Wow. Here are the numbers, and by the numbers. 58% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved. 8% of U.S. citizens who believe they will never recover from the recession. $2,000 is the average emergency savings millennial Americans have. 20% of Americans who don't save any of their annual income. 50% of American households who live paycheck to paycheck. 32% of U.S. families who maintain a household budget. $1 trillion is the total credit card debt held by Americans. 44% is the percentage of Americans who don't have enough cash to cover a $400 emergency. 24% is those of millennials who demonstrate basic financial literacy. And 40% of student loan borrowers who aren't making payments. And 68 cents is the amount saved by women in 2020 against $1 saved by men, a decrease from 70 cents in 2019, according to a report by LT Trust. So how to observe this day? Invest. Got some money burning a hole in your pocket? Instead of spending it on some fleeting luxury, why not get in on some of that sweet return on investment action? Very rarely do you get the chance to spend your money on something that gives a bit back. Well, unless you take a trip to Vegas, but those odds are for suckers. In the end, playing it safe is always sexier than spending it all. Use National Financial Awareness Day as an excuse to start investing. It's sure to pay off. And take a trip to the U.S. Mint. What better way to celebrate money than finding out how it's made? There are 4 U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. If pennies aren't quite as pretty as paper to you, head down to the U.S. Bureau of Engraving and Printing, or BEP for short. Not only do they offer tours and rare currency products, but you can take any of those ratty dollars that accidentally got tossed in the dryer and redeem them for free. How's that for smart money? And get smart about your money. You know, National Financial Awareness Day is the perfect opportunity to make a budget. We know it's not an attractive task, but it's so important. Find out where you spend your money by making a spreadsheet or using one of the many online services and apps that will do it for you. The numbers may shock you, but that's okay. Knowledge is power. And what this day is, why is it important? Well, as the saying goes, why work for your money when you can make it work for you? Sometimes in the seemingly endless race to chase that paper, we forget that we don't always need to take the uphill course. With the right knowledge, you can make the road to riches far less bumpy and a lot more scenic. Sound investment practices can help you spend less time working and more time enjoying your life. And in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And if there's one thing most people are clueless about, it's finance. There's no downside to having a bit of financial literacy in life. It's a subject many people find daunting, but taking the initiative to learn how money works will make all your peers green with envy. Just like everyone flocks to that one mechanically inclined friend when their car breaks down, you'll be that guy, but for money. Plus, when your car breaks down, you can just buy a better one. And they say money can't buy you happiness. Well, perhaps. But not having money can sure bring you a lot of sadness. That's why it's so important to make sound investment decisions now so you're not suffering later. You never know what kind of pitfalls life may throw your way, but there's no better safety net than having a nice contingency fund in your pocket. And those are some of the national holidays today for August 14th, 2023. We'll look at more tomorrow on The Edition. We'll be right back.
Hey, Lego my ego.
Lego my ego, Jessica.
Light golden Eggo waffles taste so good, it's not always easy to get your hands on one. So sometimes you have to improvise.
Lego my ego, please.
Eggo waffles from Kellogg's.
Looking for whole wheat total?
Oh, Special K.
Hope you're hungry, because you'll need almost 3 boxes of Special K to equal the vitamin and mineral nutrition in just 1 box of total.
Maybe grape nuts.
You'll have to put away 4 boxes.
Okay. Shredded wheat.
12 boxes. Total, 1 bowl, 100%. No other cereal has more vitamin and mineral nutrition.
I think I'll have Total, sweetheart. Total.
If it's whole wheat total, it's total nutrition.
California raisins from the California vineyards.
Don't you know I heard it through the grapevine?
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Mama keeps yellow dandelion like dandelion. Mama keeps white, bright like the sunshine. Mama keeps blue, twinkling like a rise dew. Mama's got the magic of Clorox too.
Clorox 2 All-Fabric Bleach does more than brighten whites. It removes stains and amplifies bright colors, brings colors back to life.
Mama keeps me looking like I'm brand new. Mama's got the magic. Mama's got the magic of Clorox 2.
A favorite French restaurant of mine does a filet of fish au gratin that's pure heaven. A favorite Chinese restaurant serves a sweet and sour chicken that I could eat every night. And a favorite Italian restaurant does lasagna with veal tomato sauce and ricotta molto delicioso. They're all right here in my own home. My chef is Weight Watchers. I have a choice of 25 delicious Weight Watchers dishes. I eat at home as if I were out without needing a fat dress again.
Keebler presents the appealing taste of baked potato skins in a crunchy chip.
Potato skins got baked potato appeal because they're made with potatoes and skins that are real.
The Keebler elves make potato skin snack chips with real potatoes and skins.
Cheddar cheese and bacon, sour cream and chives, tasty baked potato.
And they finally got barbecue flavor too.
They're made with potatoes and skins that are real. Potato skins from Keebler, baked potato appeal.
Lisa Robin Kelly, who passed away back in 2013, was the star of That 70s Show. If you probably have watched the show or followed it and in the reruns and everything, she was best known for her role as Lori Foreman on the TV series. She was born in Southington, Connecticut, and raised there and in Mooresville, North Carolina. Her parents were Thomas Carl Kelly and Linda Diane Kelly, and she earned a BFA in acting from the theater school at DePaul University in Chicago in 1992. She made her debut in 1992 Married with Children episode, Kelly Doesn't Live Here Anymore. She appeared again in 1994 in episodes of Silk Stockings, the X-Files episode Swizzy Yiggy from its 3rd season, and on Charmed in 1999, as well as in direct-to-video and television films such as Amityville Dollhouse, Late Last Night, and the theatrical film Jawbreaker. Kelly played Lori Foreman, the older sister of Eric Foreman, on That 70s Show, and she abruptly left the show midway through the 3rd season, and her character was written out of the show to attend beauty school. She returned to the show in the 5th season for 4 episodes, but was replaced with Christina Moore in the 6th season. In an interview with ABC News, Kelly admitted that with That 70s Show, I was guilty of a drinking problem and I ran. Kelly attributed her abuse of alcohol to trauma following a miscarriage. Then in August of 2010, she was arrested in North Carolina on a charge of driving while impaired. In November of the same year, she pleaded guilty and was fined and sentenced to 12 months of unsupervised probation. March 31st of 2012, she was arrested on a felony charge of corporal injury upon a spouse and was released on $10,000 bail. The charge was based on a complaint filed by her ex-boyfriend, John Mikas. She later made public statements saying that she was the one who had been insulted and denied Mikas' claim that she assaulted him. The Los Angeles County District Attorney declined to file charges. In November of 2012, police in Mooresville, North Carolina, arrested the 42-year-old Kelly and her 61-year-old husband, Robert Joseph Gilliam, after responding to a disturbance at their home, and both were charged with assault and released on bond. She later filed for divorce and a restraining order against Gilliam. Then on June 23rd of 2013, she was arrested again for a suspected DUI when law enforcement responded to a call about a parked car blocking a lane of traffic on the I-5 freeway. She subsequently failed a field sobriety test. Days after checking into PAC's rehab house in Altadena, California, she died in her sleep at the facility on August 15th, 2013, at the age of 43. And on January 3rd of 2014, the Los Angeles Department of Coroner concluded that her death was due to an accidental, unspecified oral multiple drug intoxication. We will miss you, Lisa Robin Kelly, and we celebrate your 10th anniversary passing. You would have been 53. She was age 43 when she passed, so she would have been on. She already had a birthday on March 5th, so yeah, she would have been 53 this year if she was still alive today. Sad but true. So, one thing to learn about this is, folks, don't do drugs and don't try to mess up your life with it, because it will really ruin not only your career, but anything of a chance that you have to get it back. All right, now it's like at the 20th anniversary of the Northeast blackout of 2003. And this is an interesting story that we've uncovered late last night. Yes. Something that, when you're desperate for stories, you look at the history of things and you say to yourself, well, where can I go with it? Well, let's look at this interesting story here. The Northeast blackout of 2003 was a widespread power outage throughout parts of the northeastern and midwestern United States and most parts of the Canadian province of Ontario on Thursday, August 14th of 2003, beginning just after about 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Most places restored power by midnight, within 7 hours, some as early as 6 p.m. on August 14th, within 2 hours. And while the New York City subway resumed limited services around 8 p.m., full power was restored to New York City and parts of Toronto on August 16th. At the time, it was the world's second most widespread blackout in history after the 1999 Southern Brazil blackout. The outage, which was much more widespread than the Northeast blackout of 1965, affected an estimated 55 million people, including 10 million people in southern and central Ontario and 45 million people in 8 U.S. states. The blackout's approximate cause was a software bug in the alarm system at the control room of First Energy, an Akron, Ohio-based company, which rendered operators unaware of the need to redistribute load after overloaded transmission lines drooped into foliage. What should have been a manageable local blackout cascaded into the collapse of much of the Northeast regional electricity distribution system. And according to the New York Independent System Operator, the ISO responsible for managing the New York State power grid, a 3,500 megawatt power surge towards Ontario affected the transmission grid at 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time with 39 seconds. For the next 30 minutes until 4:40, outages were reported in parts of Michigan, Detroit, Ohio. You had Cleveland, Akron, and Toledo. Ontario, Toronto, Hamilton, London, Windsor, Newark, New Jersey, and New York City, Suffolk, Nassau, Westchester, Orange, and Rockland counties, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, and Albany. This was followed by outages in other areas initially unaffected, including all of New York City and portions of southern New York State, New Jersey, Vermont, Connecticut, as well as most of the province of Ontario. Eventually, a large, somewhat triangular area bounded by Lansing, Michigan, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, the shore of James Bay, Ottawa, New York, and Toledo was left without power. And according to the official analysis of the blackout prepared by the U.S. and Canadian governments, more than 508 generating units at 265 power plants shut down during the outage. In the minutes before the event, the New York ISO managed power system that was carrying 28,700 megawatts of load. At the height of the outage, the load had dropped to 5,716 megawatts, a loss of 80%. Essential services remained in operation in some of these areas. In others, backup generation systems failed. Telephone networks generally remained operational, but the increased demand triggered by the blackout left many circuits overloaded. Water systems in several cities lost pressure, forcing boil water advisories to be put into effect. Cellular service was interrupted as mobile networks were overloaded with the increase in volume of calls. Many cell sites were out of commission due to power outages. Television and radio stations remained on the air with the help of backup generators, although some stations were knocked off the air for periods ranging from several hours to the length of the entire blackout. It was a hot day, 88 degrees in much of the affected region, and the heat played a role in the initial event that triggered the wider power outage. The high ambient temperature increased energy demand as people across the region turned on fans and air conditioning, and this caused the power lines to sag as higher currents heated the lines. In areas where power remained off after nightfall, the Milky Way and orbiting artificial satellites became visible to the naked eye in metropolitan areas where they could not ordinarily be seen due to the effects of air particulates and light pollution. Most of the Amtrak Northeast Corridor was even interrupted, as it relied on electricity for its signaling and crossing systems. Electrified commuter railways also shut down. Via Rail in Canada was also able to continue most of its service, and all airports in the affected area closed immediately, so there were no takeoffs, and incoming flights had to be diverted to airports with the power. The reliability of the electrical grid was called into question and required substantial investment to repair its shortcomings. So most places restored power by midnight, as early as 6 p.m. on August 14th, and the New York City subway had resumed limited services around 8 p.m. Some areas lost power for only 4 to 8 hours. These are Albany and parts of Long Island in New York, 3/4 of New Jersey, parts of Pennsylvania, Ohio and Michigan, New London County, Connecticut, parts of downtown Toronto, Mississauga, and London in Ontario, portions of western Ottawa, including Canada and south to Kingston, many of the areas of the regional municipality of Niagara, Nigeria in Ontario, and parts of southwestern Ontario, particularly areas near the Bruce Nuclear Generating Station. And by the next morning, some areas of Manhattan regained power around 5 a.m., Staten Island regained power around 3, and half of the affected portions of Ontario regained power by the morning. By early evening of August 15th, 2 airports, Cleveland Hopkins International and Toronto Pearson International, were back in service. And by August 16th, power was fully restored in New York and parts of Toronto. And within the affected area, about 200,000 people continued to have power in the Niagara Peninsula of Ontario, the easternmost corner of Ontario centered on Cornwall, northwestern Ontario, west of Wawa, and the Buffalo, New York area, excluding southern Erie County, along the shore of Lake Huron via a feeder line to Owen Sound from Bruce Nuclear Generating Station. 3 of the 4 Bruce B units were able to throttle back their output without a complete shutdown, then reconnect to the grid within 5 hours. The portion of New York State, including parts of Albany and north and west of Albany, a small pocket of Mideast Michigan, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and small pockets in New Jersey. The unaffected area was protected by transmission circuit devices at the Sir Adam Beck hydroelectric generating stations in Niagara Falls. Coincidentally, the starting point of the Northeast blackout of 1965 at a switching station of the hydroelectric power station in Cornwall, as well as central New York State. Philadelphia and the surrounding mid-Atlantic areas were also completely unaffected because PGM disconnected them. The St. Clair power plant in East China Township, Michigan, remained online for about 36 hours, and residents were informed that the plant would have to shut down in order to facilitate the reboot of the whole system. Orville, Ohio, was able to restore power within an hour, disconnecting the local utility from the larger grid and restarting the coal fire generator. We'll be right back.
Before you slide into that satin, before you slip into that silk, before you put on anything at all, caress. Before you dress, Caress isn't a soap. It's a body bar with bath oil. Caress can't dry your skin the way soap can. Gives you the soft you just can't get from soap. After all, shouldn't your skin be softer than anything that goes next to it? Before you dress, Caress.
If you've got a good trade, chances are you've already got a good job. If you haven't, better get one. Auto mechanic. Now there's a good trade. At Apex Tech, we've got a 6-month training program for auto mechanics. It's thorough because we work you hard. With a professional mechanic working alongside you, you tear down an engine and put it back together again, and do the same with the transmission. Carburetors, fuel injection, computer command control, electrical chassis, alignment, brakes, steering. It's all in your training program. When you complete your training, and we recommend you for a job, you've got your own set of professional tools. Give us a call. Say when you can come in to look over the shops and see what financial assistance toward your training you're entitled to from the government. Now, I can't phone you. You have to take the first step. Call 645-3300. Our switchboard is open now. 645-3300.
Ah, the Nature Valley Granola Bar. Such simple sweetness. Such enjoyable crunch. Once you come to know this wonderfully wholesome taste, you realize a Nature Valley Granola Bar could be the candy bar nature intended.
Oh, you're looking at a broken peanut. All I ever wanted was to get into a Fifth Avenue candy bar so I can be irresistible. But they don't want peanuts. They want peanut butter. Crunchy layer after layer of peanut butter smothered in Hershey's pure milk chocolate. It'll be a grind, but I'm going to do it. After all, it's Hershey. It's Fifth Avenue. It's everything it's cracked up to be. And if they won't have me, I'm going to throw myself to the elephants.
And I've heard that being sexy is all in the mind. But I think that it's somewhere else.
Jovan Musk.
Staying sexy is an all-day job. And for some of us, the end of the day is just the beginning.
Jovan Musk, Evening Edition. We help American men stay sexy.
Tired of losing battle after battle in the sky, the Autobots create the ultimate robot jet, Jetfire. But the evil Decepticons have a secret new weapon, Shockwave.
Shockwave will stop them!
Sold separately from Hasbro.
The bakers are here.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon and sugar, we're baking up a bunch. We're cinnamon and sugar shakers.
The bakers.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch Bakers.
We make Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal taste
Like homemade.
Part of this nutritious breakfast.
Less sugar than I thought.
Bacon homemade taste.
I like it.
Into Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I'm Jason Nicanio, and welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. It's episode 41, August 14, 2023. Hope you're having a fantastic morning with us here. Hope you enjoyed that little commentary about the 20th anniversary of the Northeast blackout of 2003. Lots of affected areas. I hope that wherever you are, never have to have that happen ever again. But if you do, you have the preparedness for it. Just like we prepare for hurricanes down here in Florida, you should always have a prepared plan for a blackout. Why should we not be friends? We should not be friends. The non-fictional book about a 40-year-old friendship and the commentary. Well, we tried to get the New York Times article commentary about that, but unfortunately it blocked us, saying you have reached your limit of free article viewing. Subscribe. So we now take a look at this particular one from kirkusreviews.com. This is by Will Schwalaby. The release date of this book was February 21st, 2023. So let's put it this way. A veteran book editor recounts a long-lasting bond between seeming opposites. From the start, it was clear that Maxie and I should not be friends, writes Schwalaby, the author of the End of Your Life book club. Over time, the author, who was friends with most of the other gays and lesbians on campus at Yale, realized that his eventual friend, Chris Maxey, a boisterous jock, was far less prejudiced than the author assumed, and their friendship grew only to be nearly killed when, seemingly as a joke, Maxey repeatedly shouted an anti-gay slur at other players during a beer-soaked pool game. Schwalaby was understandably hurt and angry, mostly at himself, for not saying anything and for letting down my guard. However, as the author demonstrates, Maxey is a complex, thoughtful individual. And though a devotee of neoconservative military historian Robert Kagan and fully embedded in the macho culture of athletes, Maxey recognized his transgression even as he committed it. Life went on, and while Schwalaby and his other friends entered the arts and the professions, Maxey became a Navy SEAL, taking part in bloody operations in Panama and elsewhere. He married an admiral's daughter, left the service, raised a family, and built a private school on the islands of Eleutheria after a brief stint in corporate life. Schwalaby candidly recounts other misreadings of intention, the weathering of life events and illnesses, and finally, nearing 60, their accommodations to each other, though on Schwalaby's part, a reticence about expressing affection. Across decades, both men have taught each other tolerance for difference. Maxey had helped me realize that people you don't like aren't always who you think they are. And even when you are quite sure, and what's more, even if they are, they may want to change, writes the author. An affecting, rewarding story of an unlikely friendship that, against all seeming odds, has endured. Wow. Short but sweet. So let's look at another commentary from this one. This is from Goodreads. Hopefully it gives us let's see. It gives us a little more detailed let's see. Gives you a little more detail. This is from Goodreads.com. They give it a 3.92 out of 5 stars. 20 out of 221 reviews. Will Schwalaby, he's they talk about the author. He says, "Greetings. Since we are both here, I'm guessing you are probably a fellow book lover. Always great to meet other members of the tribe." He says, "I put a lot about myself in my books, but here are some of the basics." He says, "I was born in New York in 1962, grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts, went to boarding school in New Hampshire, and to college in New Haven, Connecticut. so I consider myself a New Englander, even though I'm not one by birth. I've worked as a journalist in the television business and even briefly in college as a substitute teacher. But I've spent most of my life in publishing at William Morrow and then at Hyperion, where I was editor-in-chief. In January of 2008, I left Hyperion to found a startup called Cookster.com and ran that for 6 years. It's now part of Macmillan Publishers, where I've worked since 2014. Books have been the constant in my life, from those my mother read me when I was too young to read, to those my father read us when we could read but still liked to be read to. From books I read under the covers long after I was supposed to be asleep, including every single thriller by the magnificent Alistair MacLean, to the books that I found in my teens that helped me imagine all different kinds of lives and see the world through others' eyes. I've written 4 books. The first, called Send, Why People Email So Badly and How to Do It Better, was written by my friend David Shipley. The second, The End of Your Life Book Club, is about the books I read with my mother when she was dying. The third is Books for Living, about the role books can play in our lives and how they can show us how to live each day more fully and with more meaning. And the fourth is We Should Not Be Friends, the story of an unlikely friendship that started in college and has enriched my life for 40 years and counting. I live in New York City with my husband. We've been together since way back when I first moved to Hong Kong in 1984. We have 1 African Violent that's a bit lopsided, books everywhere, and are obsessed with our neighbor's adorable Chow Lucky. We also have 5 godchildren, 1 niece, and 4 nephews. I love meeting fellow readers and hearing from readers about all different kinds of books. And I answer everyone, though sometimes it can take me a bit of time. My favorite question to be asked or to ask is a simple one. What are you reading? And that, friends, is an author of very interesting taste. We have a comment here. Yes. Thank you, Mark. Mark Ueda. He's one of our interesting people out there who likes to comment. Thank you very much for your continued support of the show, Mark. We appreciate it. Time is now 9:22 here at WJDC Studios. When we come back, we're going to be looking at the editorial and wrap up this day here on DMS 3000 News Live. We'll be right back.
Hey, Lego my ego.
Lego my ego, Jessica.
Light golden Eggo waffles taste so good, it's not always easy to get your hands on one. So sometimes you have to improvise.
Lego my ego, please.
Eggo waffles from Kellogg's.
Looking for whole wheat total?
Special K.
Hope you're hungry, because you'll need almost 3 boxes of Special K to equal the vitamin and mineral nutrition in just 1 box of total.
Maybe grape nuts.
You'll have to put away 4 boxes.
Okay. Shredded wheat.
12 boxes. Total, 1 bowl, 100%. No other cereal has more vitamin and mineral nutrition.
I think I'll have Total, sweetheart. Total.
If it's whole wheat total, it's total nutrition.
California raisins from the California vineyards.
Don't you know I heard it through the grapevine?
Sounds great, doesn't it?
Mama keeps yellow dandelion. Mama keeps white, bright like the sunshine. Mama keeps blue, twinkling like a rise dew. Mama's got the magic of Clorox too.
Clorox 2 All-Fabric Bleach does more than brighten whites. It removes stains and amplifies bright colors, brings colors back to life.
Mama keeps me looking like I'm brand new. Mama's got the magic of Clorox too.
A favorite French restaurant of mine does a filet of fish au gratin that's pure heaven. A favorite Chinese restaurant serves a sweet and sour chicken that I could eat every night. And a favorite Italian restaurant does lasagna with veal tomato sauce and ricotta molto delicioso. They're all right here in my own home. My chef is Weight Watchers. I have a choice of 25 delicious Weight Watchers dishes. I eat at home as if I were out without needing a fat dress again.
Keebler presents the appealing taste of baked potato skins in a crunchy chip.
Potato skins got baked potato appeal, because they're made with potatoes and skins that are real.
The Keebler Elves make potato skin snack chips with real potatoes and skins.
Cheddar cheese and bacon, sour cream and chives, tasty baked potato.
And they finally got barbecue flavor too.
They're made with potatoes and skins that are real. Potato skins from Keebler, baked potato appeal.
Most of you know that I don't take a political side on this particular show because DMS 3000 News Live is not a political show, nor is it anything less than that. But being a conservative Republican all my life and having to deal with what we've dealt with over the course of the last 2 years of our current president, President Joe Biden, it has disgusted me ever since. And on this editorial, I'd like to talk about what I've seen over the course of these 2 years and what you probably have seen. And if you're a liberal and despise what I'm going to say, then this is up for debate. But again, it's always impartial to the editorials that we have here on the program. They're all opinion-based. That means the feelings of the host basically is giving you what the interpretation is. Okay, editorials are like that and should be treated like that. Now, considering the fact that we have high gas prices, high food costs, inflation, a surge of recessions being threatened, our money is being tossed about, our country in chaos, violent crimes up, the border is out of commission, and everybody is fleeing to different states to get away from it all. What does that tell you, Mr. President? Do you think you're doing a fantastic job? Or are you letting your age get the best of you? The thing that worries me about you, Mr. President, is that even at the age of 82, some people still go on with their lives and can still freely think. You, on the other hand, don't have anything much to go with anymore. So are you just letting things slip through the cracks and pretending like nothing is really bad going on? Are you pretending like there is just a hope at the end of the tunnel? Whatever you keep telling us on your press conferences are lies. They're never the truth. And if you think what you're saying is the truth, then you are a narcissist, as recorded by many experts in the field. And we all know what a narcissist does, Mr. President. They lie, they gaslight, and they continue to threaten people when asking simple questions to you. Why is it, Mr. President, you don't want to answer a simple question about something that your son did many, many months ago? Why is it you put up a defense every time somebody asks you a question about the economy? Why is it you keep warding off reporters left and right? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that everything that you have destroyed this country with is coming back to finally haunt you? Do you not realize that the American people are not stupid, but smart to realize that you, sir, are not fit to be the president of the United States? Okay? It's a matter of opinion. Okay? You've already taken our free speech and destroyed it, you dictator. That's what you are. You are a United States American dictator trying to force us to become a communist, socialist country. We know that for a fact. And yet you continue to say that our economy is doing fantastic and that there's nothing really to worry about, folks. We'll all get this taken care of. The Green New Deal is coming. Let me tell you something, Mr. President. Nobody is going to want to drive an electric car ever, knowing that the price of that electric car is going to bankrupt them. Why would you make cars more unaffordable for people who have to try to get from to and from work when you should be making more cars gasoline powered and drilling in our own country? What are you afraid of? I'll tell you what you're afraid of, Mr. President. You're afraid to expose yourself to the fact that you are getting money from the Chinese Communist Party, that you are getting money handed under the table. And if you don't give in to their orders and their demands, Mr. President, then you don't get the money that will support your wonderful family. Okay? Brian Kilmeade couldn't say that. Sean Hannity couldn't say it. They were all around it. And shame on you, Brian Kilmeade and Sean Hannity, for your illicit reporting many, many months ago. We could have had this solved. You theoretically told us this was happening. Maybe. It was all theory. It was all skepticism. No, it was happening right under your nose. And the reason why you couldn't report on it so quickly was because Fox News prevented you from reporting it quickly. Shame on you, Fox News, for not reporting this 10 months ago. All right? This is why we don't believe a lot of the mass media, even on the conservative side. And I have to question our Republican Congress. Can you get the job done? Will you be willing to take the steps to prosecute the American president who's in the office as of this day? If your guys are going after Trump, and that's a big mistake, because, you know, Trump is like the Jesus Christ of today. You keep going after him, but he keeps resurrecting and rebounding back. This is not the right way to go after somebody when you know he is innocent above everything. And whether you like Trump or not, who cares? You are more racist and prejudiced if you don't like a man who makes more million money than you, folks. Okay? But Trump kept us out of the wars. Trump kept us with gas prices low. Trump did everything to make sure you were having food on your table, folks. Think about this. Every night you come home and have to feed your kids and take care of your kids and your family. Same thing with me. I don't have kids, but I have family. It's the same thing in everybody's household. You don't know what's going on, but I can guarantee you come home and you have to be a parent. Well, you chose that. So you do what you got to do to make sure that food is on the table, love is in the air, and that's all that matters. But if you want to continue to live in a country of hate, violence, and all that other stuff that brings this country down, then you will soak in your own juices, folks. You have the power to vote who gets into the presidency. And whether you like Trump or not, vote because of what he's done and not who he is. Okay? Because if you were going to vote Joe Biden in, well, surely Joe Biden is a pussy. That's right. He is a coward. A man of his caliber at the age of 82, shame on you. Mark Levin put it best and saying that this country is going to the dogs, and so it should be. It should tell the American people what's to be expected in the next time if you vote Mr. Biden in for another 4 years. Again, folks, you have the power to make this happen. And I don't want to hear everybody complain, oh, man, it's so bad when Trump was president. We didn't have freedom. You had more freedom than you ever had in your life. Now your freedoms are being taken away from you. How do you like that? I don't think so. You know? And I believe that if we continue on the path that we're going right now, folks, we're going to be headed for that sewer that's going to sink us to the bottom of the ground. What as we as Americans grew up on with the founding fathers, folks, it all goes back to those days for freedom. The Constitution, the Declaration of Independence guarantee that we as citizens could live in a world where nothing could touch us. And we have had that for over 246 years. And now the generation that's coming aboard this route is totally destroying our chances of becoming a successful nation once again. Shame on you if you vote Democrat next year in the election, because the same thing's going to happen. And I said this 9 years ago When President Obama was in the White House, you're going to get the same treatment that you got 9 years ago if you put Biden in the White House. And a lot of people said I was delusional and screwed up in the head. Well, to those people, I say you're even more screwed up than what you are. That's right. Because I'm still here and I'm still going out there and doing what I can to be a good citizen of the United States of America, folks. And the people who are trying hard to get you to realize this are working 24 hours around the clock to deliver the news and information that you deserve. You say you're not getting the important stuff? Well, right here on DMS 3000 News Live, we're giving you the important stuff. Whether it's part of the events of the today, of the 20th anniversary of something that happened, or the headlines that of this morning, we're still giving it to you. You know, folks, I've met a lot of interesting people, and I met some real turds in my life too. And to those people who I've met who are turds, I don't want any part of you. That's right, because you're toxic. The only way you're going to get to be a successful people friend, a friend of people, is to start swallowing your pride, put aside your differences, and start realizing that people are not like you. And I realize that people are not like me. I understand that. I'm not trying to change everybody. I'm not trying to make you into something that you're not. But I am here to tell you that our country is failing and failing fast. Look at our credit rating. Went from a AAA down to a AA. That means our dollar is weak. The very money you spend on groceries is increasing. But you would rather go out and spend it on high luxury items and big diesel trucks and all this other stuff instead of, maybe, devolumizing yourself to where you can afford to live. And then when the economy gets better, you can go back up and enjoy life again. Why don't you step down a little bit and see what it's like to be poor? Look at the poor. Look at the people on the streets. The ones begging on the streets seem to be making more money, $300 a day, and you're giving it to them. Why? What did they do to deserve it? You gave in to them. You feel sorry for them. Yet you can whine and complain that I'm not getting what I want in life. Stop complaining, folks. Get out there and do something about it. Make a difference. You have the power to do that. And if you don't want to do that, then you can sit on your lazy ass stuffing nacho cheese chips in your fat mouth and complaining. But we don't want to hear complaining. We don't want to hear it. We want you out there doing something about it. And if you don't want to do anything about it, then the roller coaster of life is going to continue to sweep you off the ride. And to President Biden and his staff, I don't care what the heck you guys do the rest of your time, whether you're in office the next 4 years or not. I don't care. For the guy who basically is trying to go after you, President Biden, I think twice about sleeping at night. I would think twice about that. That guy is crazy and is coming after you. All right? I'm surprised at the amount of people not going after the president. What do you got to lose if you can't question a guy who is going to continually write you off? The narc boy in the White House. That's right. The narcissist. President Joe Biden. Terrible. Are we going to continue to vote in narcissistic people like that? Man, we have another thing coming. The end of the road is not here, folks. We have a lot of work to do in the next election. And we have to make sure that our freedom is secured, our families are taken care of, and there's love and kindness and respect. And to those people who want to commit crimes out there, shame on you. You're going to get your butt handed to you. You want to go and beat up somebody? You're going to get your butt handed to you because we're going to fight back. Whatever it takes to bring you down. To the drug cartels out there in Mexico, you're going to get your butts handed to you eventually. Fentanyl people, it's a shame what we have to deal with. We're fearing for our lives, folks, because of what's coming into our country. And it all starts in the schools. And school starts officially this first week here in Central Florida. And I myself am wondering to myself what these kids are being taught. And thank God we have a governor like Ron DeSantis to take us to the top. And as much as you guys don't like Governor DeSantis and the fact that he is a truthful governor of a red state of Florida, folks, mind you, all the people who are coming to Florida are from the blue states. Why? Because they can't take it anymore. They cannot take being the victims of violent crimes in their cities and neighborhoods. But here's the thing. You come to the red states of Texas and Florida, you adhere to the rules. Okay? We don't take no crap from nobody. This is why red states like Florida and Texas are being overpopulated right now. Folks, you have the power to do something about it. Do it. And if you don't like what I just said, too bad, because it's been said. And I've said it, and I don't back down on what I say. Because at this point in my life, you know, I'm 45 and pushing up on 50. And what I see is terrible. And now I know what my grandmother told me back in the days of her life when she says life was even more tough on the streets. It was more different than ever before. Maybe it was simpler, but it was still difficult to go out there and get a job and live for the amount of money that she made back in the days. Ask your parents, ask your grandparents how they struggled, some of them, to put food on the table. But they did it, and they loved you. That was the important thing. Love was always in every household, folks. Love, respect, kindness, that's what we needed. And how we get it from our parents is the important thing in life. So with this editorial, I'm done for the day. It's over. And I say have a great day, because tomorrow we have a better show coming for you, episode 42. I'm Jason Icanio. Remember, be honest, be real, keep it simple, stupid, kiss. And tune in to Brian Snow and Cole Johnson coming up at 10 o'clock right here on the David 3000 Network. From all of us here at DMS 3000 News Live, I'm Jason Icanio. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same back channel, for more on DMS 3000 News Live. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the David Dyson Network for great more content like this one.